All right, hi everybody. I want to show you guys how to buy a stock today and sell a stock today. You can see that my account is down this morning. The whole entire market is red, as you guys can see here. It's a really big down day in the market in general. But these can be good days to buy in typically, and I'll kind of explain that a little bit more as we go along. So don't get too discouraged when you have a day where you're in the red and you're down, because you're really likely to see those gains come right back up even the following day. Fridays tend to be kind of a typical day for the market to drop. So that's something to kind of look for. And again, that can just be a good day to buy into your stocks. So let's kind of get started with purchasing here. And the first thing you're going to do is probably go to your watch list. So down at the bottom of your screen there, you can click on watch list. And here you can see my positions. It's again mostly red today, with the exception of I got a few green positions up towards the top. I'll kind of touch on a lot of these again as we move forward, but definitely a red day in the market. Let's go to, I created a list, which is our Facebook beginning traders watch list. And the one I want to look at first here is that one at the top, which is Fuel Tech. These are energy stocks. Again, I'll kind of really get into way more detail on what everything means with the stock, what, kind of industry it's in, why it might be moving up or down and all that kind of thing. But today I just want to focus on how to buy a stock, how to set some of the parameters so that you can minimize your risk, and then show you how to sell a stock as well. So you'll choose the stock that you want to buy in on, and we're going to select Fuel Tech here. So a couple of things to note. You can kind of see by looking at this chart right now, if you look up kind of towards the top, I have it at 2 hours. I'm going to change that here in a second, but 2 hours is roughly about 2 weeks of data here, if you kind of start at the left and then go all the way to the right of the chart. If we click on 1 minute, this is just going to be, right now, it's today's active chart. You can see that it's dropped. It's kind of starting to come back up. I wanted to actually buy this a little while ago at 10%, but I thought I'd kind of wait when it was 10% down, but I thought I would wait to show you guys how to do this. Ideally, though, I would have bought in kind of more around this range here, okay? But what we're going to do is click on trade down in the left hand corner here, and a couple of things that we really want to do. First off, I want to show you guys how to have some settings on here. First, what I want you to do is click on the upper right hand corner, where you have that, it's kind of like a setting symbol, and on this, I want you guys to ultimately just kind of make your settings the same as what I have here. So for the key ones, default buy sell setting, you can have that to buy. For your show scroll bar for quantity, you want that to be on. Show scroll bar for price, you want that to be on. Default order type, this one's pretty important, set that to limit order. Default time in force, set that to good until canceled. And then lastly here is this default to always include extended hours, should be turned on. Okay. All right, let's go back. We're going to place our first order. So you can kind of see up here towards the top where it says FTEK, that's the ticker symbol or the stock symbol. It shows you kind of the current price is at 530. Our limit price is set at 530. That's really what we want. We're going to choose our quantity. I usually like to try to tend to buy positions equaling or totaling about $500. This can vary, but that's usually kind of my go-to. You can always increase your positions. You can always decrease your positions. So in this case, I am going to go ahead and, well, actually, I think I'm going to probably buy a little bit of a smaller position because I did want to buy this at 10%. It may very easily go back down to 10% today. So let's do just half of that today. I'm going to do 50 positions or quantity of 50. You want, again, looking up towards the top, it should say limit. You can see it's highlighted limit here. Okay. And then also you want this one to say buy. Okay, those are just some of the key things. We got quantity 50. The time in force there, you can see is set, and it says GTC. That just really means good till canceled. Okay, and we want that to be there. Extended hours, these are all kind of part of the default settings we just set in, but that'll say yes. Now this part is important. I want you guys to always make sure that you are doing this take profit and loss. This is key. This is going to be what helps you to minimize your risk and losses. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. It's going to open a new window here. Our limit price, basically what that is that's where we would sell at. So if it hits that price, it'll automatically sell. I like to control that more myself, so I'm going to go ahead and just change that to, right now I'm just going to say $20. Okay, so if the stock ever hits $20, if I haven't changed that, it's going to automatically sell. You can see that it gives me an estimated profit from what I just purchased. If it hits $20, I will have made $735. Now the stop price, this is the most important thing. This is what's going to minimize your risk so that you can't, lose a ton of money. Now, not everything is 100% fail safe. It can kind of sometimes blow by these stop prices. That's very rare, but it can happen. But this is something that you want to have set all of the time. You can leave it where it's at. You can see that if I leave it where it's at, if it hits $5.25 and it goes down to that, I will lose only $2.50 by purchasing this stock. Now, if we look up towards the top again here, you can kind of see that the price is now currently, oh, sorry about that. I'm still trying to get used to some of these things on here. The price is now currently at, bear with me as I kind of get used to some of these functions on here, but the price is currently at $5.27. So if we notice that as we're buying, we can always kind of change some of these factors, but I'll show you after we make this purchase kind of how we can do that as well. I'm going to change that a little bit. I'm not afraid to lose a tiny bit more than that. So let's just say I knock that 5 off. I go to $5.20. That now brings me down to an estimated loss of $5 if it goes down that far and it bumps me out of that stock or it sells that stock. And then lastly, at the bottom there, you can see time in force is good till canceled. Again, you really pretty much always want it set to good till canceled, or that GTC. The other option is going to be day. So that just means at the end of the trading day, all those factors you just set in, or parameters you just set in, will basically just kind of clear away, and you'd have to reset those and that sort of thing. So leave that to good till canceled. In my opinion, it's kind of the only way to go. All right, so looking at everything here, everything looks pretty good. I'm going to leave this as it is. We're going to go ahead and hit buy, and then it'll confirm. I want you to confirm here, place order, yes. All right, so you can see we filled, if you looked at my notification at the top there. Now if I go back to this window, into the chart, we're at the 1 minute chart. It's the most current chart you can be looking at. You can see that I have 50 positions here at $5.28 is actually what it filled at. If you remember, we had that set at a buy of $5.30. What it will oftentimes do is either fill at that limit price, or it might fill a little bit lower. It will rarely to never fill if it has jumped above that stock price, which is a good feature because sometimes these can really leap up. And for example, it could jump up to almost like, say, $6, and then it can just fall immediately right back down to $5.30, and you've just instantly lost all that money in that purchase. So that limit buy is really important when it comes to minimizing your risk. You can also do what's called a market buy. Again, I pretty much never do that. Usually it will fill immediately. You don't have to wait for it to fill. I'll kind of show you some of these other options here in this video if it works out and there's something else that looks like buying. But so far, I'm pretty happy with this. I would have preferred to buy it down here when it was at kind of its bottom, or 10%. I'm going to talk a lot more too about how to gauge those things and how to tell when the best time to buy in is. These bottom points here, for example, those bottom points are what we refer to as support, meaning that it looks like the stock is kind of bouncing off of those areas, and it doesn't really want to go any lower. So people are stopping their selling at those points ultimately. So those are good points to buy in at. You can also kind of go back. So I'm going to go and click up here on the time frames. If we look at, again, I'm going to go to, let's go to the 2 hours, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. Again, from that standpoint, going further back, we can kind of see that right where my position is at 50, and then my stop sell just below that in red is kind of right at that support line. So again, I'm going to point those out, but we have kind of supports there. We can't see it that well because I have my positions there, but if we were to look a little closer, there'd be a support there and then supports here. So those are good indicators that the stock is supported at those areas. It's probably and hopefully not going to drop past that. And we can use those to determine our buy-in points. Now, the other thing that we'll look at, and again, I'll probably create a whole another video that just explains things like support and resistance and how to read these charts. But the resistance is basically going to be the opposite of support. The resistance is going to be these areas here. So this would be a resistance, this would be a resistance, that would be a resistance, that's a resistance. So that's where it's kind of bouncing off the top. It's not really getting higher than those points. Resistance can be within a day, resistance can be within a week. You really have to kind of look at multiple charts to determine these things. Support is kind of going to be one of the things we talk a little bit more about because it's more important for your buy-ins. Resistance, is something that it is very important, but that's going to be more about selling your stocks, and we'll get a lot more into that down the road here. Let's go ahead and look at another one of the stocks on the list here. Okay, so fuel cell. These two stocks actually really kind of mirror each other quite a bit. Fuel cell is down 10% today. Those are pretty big drops. I mean, the whole market, like I said, is red today. Almost everything that I typically buy is green every day. So kind of going back to like my top buys here. and or my active buys, which are stocks that I'm really actively trading. Normally they're all green, okay, but today you can see that everything is red, and significantly red. It's not real common to see stocks that are down 10% when it comes to buying, more or less solid stocks, for example. But I want to purchase some fuel cell as well, because I think it's hitting a little bit of a support here, and we can kind of see that that is true when we look at this 2-hour chart. I'll get into what that actually means as far as why is it called a 2-hour chart, but it shows about a 2-week time frame there. Really, it's because each one of those bars you're looking at is a bar that equals 2 hours. And there's a lot to get into, but I want to kind of keep this to mostly just how to buy and sell. So right now I'm going to just show you that again, and in future videos I will really in depth discuss the charts, how to read them, and how to really understand and interpret every part on here, including the bars and then the lines. There's other words and terminologies for those. I'll get into that as well. But again, we can kind of see right now that it looks like today that the price is hitting kind of a support. So again, what I mean is right here we can kind of see a support. This would have been a prior support, but now the more recent support would be the one where that arrow is on the left, and we can kind of see we're up against that. You can see that it looks like there was another support there and kind of here as well. So it's showing supports in those areas. And again, that's really important to help you determine if it's a good time to buy in on that stock. All right, so let's go back to the 1-minute chart, which is kind of right now. Again, this is also one that I would have normally bought in a little earlier when it was down closer to that 1525. It does look like it's kind of dropping a little bit, and it might come back down to that 1525 kind of down here. So I think probably we'll buy again, maybe a little bit more of a smaller position, just with the expectation it might drop back down to that. But I'm going to go ahead and I think we'll just purchase. In this case, I'm going to pick up 20 shares. So we're going to go ahead and hit trade. And again, the key things here are going to be that you are on limit and then buy. Those are going to be part of our default settings that we just set earlier. And then quantity, I'm going to do 20. Okay, again, that time in force there should be set to good till canceled. The extended hours below that, yes. Again, the most important part here, that take profit and stop loss. We're going to go ahead and turn that on. It's going to open the new window. And the limit price, again, that's where you want to sell the stock at. I'm going to change that to even just 40. A lot of times I like to set it to double, but I'm going to go ahead and put it to 40 for now. Again, you can't really go too wrong on that. Again, I'll tell you guys a lot more detail about how sometimes it can be good to set that a little lower, because sometimes these stocks will spike abnormally and they go there for only a minute and then they drop back down. And if you're lucky, you can hit that and you'll sell and make a bunch of money. And then it just goes right back down. So, and then our stop price, there's automatic settings for this. And I believe we can change those. I will kind of, again, if that is a possibility, I will go ahead and discuss that further. But usually the default is kind of what you want to go with anyway. So we're at 1586. If it drops down to 1570, it'll automatically sell. If you guys look up again at the current price there, it's at 15. It's at 1576. There we go. So 1570, that doesn't give us a whole lot of room. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe change that to 1565, and I'm gonna go with that. I'll do sometimes as much as estimated loss of $20. It really depends on the stock, how much it's moving and that sort of thing. But I'm going to go with 1565 here. And let's go ahead and because it's down to 15, now it's down to 1570. So it is dropping as we were seeing there. I'm going to do something here, and I want to show you guys this. I'm going to change this to 1560 actually, so that we don't buy higher than we want. And then I think I'll have to change this also in that case. So let's change this to 1550. I don't think it's going to hopefully go that low, at least not while we're trying to do this buy here, but it'll help me to show you guys some of these other settings. All right, now we have everything where we want. Go ahead and hit buy, hit place order. Normally I take that confirmation off. I'll show you guys those settings as well. I don't like to confirm. I want it to just buy when I hit that, but to start off with, it's good to have that confirmation. I'll show you guys where to have that setting on. I think we already have that that we talked about earlier. Let's go back here. Okay, now because we lowered those prices, you can see it's not hitting that yet. It's where it's at. It was down all the way to 1525 earlier today. It really very easily might get there again. But now you can see I have my open buy here. It's set for 20 at 1560. So let's say I want to get in on this. If you look, again, you can kind of see it looks like support happening in that area there. Those are showing supports. So that might be a decent place to get in. It might stop there and then stay there, and then hopefully it goes back up, of course. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is if you click on the green part where it says open buy, it's going to bring this up. You can then put your finger on the up and down toggle area there. Oops, I lost it. You can put your finger on the up and down toggle area. It allows you to toggle that up and down. We're going to bring that up closer to where the stock is currently at 1576. Let go of that, hit the check mark. Yes, that's what I want to do. And then we'll kind of wait and see what happens here. And if it hits back down to that 1576, it should automatically buy. Sometimes if there's just a lot of action happening and it's moving up and down, it may not purchase right away. If it just hits it for a split second, it may not purchase it right away. Sometimes it's good just to be patient. Or, if you can see that it's just kind of bouncing or hovering around a little bit higher, you can go ahead and change that. So just to kind of show that to you guys, we'll go ahead and do it. It's at 1578. It seems to be kind of hovering there a little bit more, 77. I'm going to move this up to, let's move it up to 78. We'll hit check mark. Yes, I want to change that. Okay, it's telling me right now it can't be modified, but it did anyway, and it filled at that 1576 that we had it earlier. So it dropped back down to that right before I had a chance to go ahead and okay it. Now that I'm purchased there, what I want to do is I'm going to move this stop sell up. So if you guys look at this here, you can kind of see my estimated loss. This is a great option on Webull. This is very helpful. You can see my estimated loss, if it drops all the way down to 1550, is going to be $5.20. So unless something crazy happens, as to where it just shoots by that, which, just again is extremely rare, but it can happen. I've had it happen to myself. But it should sell right at that 1550, and the most I lost is $5.20. Now, if you don't want to lose that, what you can do is you can move this up. I would move it up personally to just below those support lines there, and you just hit check mark. Yes, I want to move the stop sell to that, so hit yes. And now my estimated loss, you guys can see there is only $1.60. Okay, so very good. However, I don't want to actually sell out there because I think it might drop back down to this 1525 today. I'm going to move it down here. I'm going to hit yes. So now my estimated loss is potentially $10.80. I can live with that. And in fact, I'm going to kind of watch for it to drop down further. And if it does, I'm going to increase my position here to maybe 40 or something along those lines. One thing you can do if you know you want to do that, and this is getting to be a little bit more advanced, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos of this kind of stuff on a regular basis, so it'll be more clear moving forward as to what we're doing. But let's say I expect it's going to drop down closer to this 1525. What you can do is hold your finger on the screen closer to that area, and it's going to bring up this option to buy and sell. I'm going to kind of scroll that down, toggle that down to 15, let's just say 1530. I'm going to hit buy. Now what it's going to do here is going to give me a kind of a position or a option to have a buy order there if it does hit 1530. So if it does, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to buy 20 more positions at 1530 if it drops back down to that. Okay, again, good till canceled. Since we have some time here, let's go ahead and check that confirmation thing again. So you're going to go back up at the top to that. Oops, I keep using the wrong thing here. You're going to go back up to the top where this settings tab is. Go ahead and click on that. Okay, so show order confirmation. Actually, it does look like I have that turned off now. But you would turn that on right there if you wanted that on. I recommend having it on to start off with, just to make sure you're not making any errors. You can kind of glance over and make sure that what you have set is what you want. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it off, however, and then you can see those other settings that we had on there. Okay, good. Well, let's go back. So again, we have our limit price of 1530. We have our quantity set at 20. And taking a step back here and going up more towards the top, again, you should be at limit. I'll point that out again. But you should be at limit and then buy. Okay. And again, the most important thing here is take your profit and loss. And the limit price, again, is where it's going to sell at. If we want it to sell automatically, I mean, I don't want it to sell. This is a kind of potentially a long-term stock. I don't know if it'll ever hit $40, but I can sell it whenever I want. Otherwise, it's going to sell automatically at $40 for me. Here, the stop price, 15.15. That would be an estimated loss there of $3 if it gets down to that 15.15. That's not bad. Sometimes I like to see it more visually on the chart too, because again, I can kind of look at and then compare it with previous supports and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that where it's at, hit buy. Order confirmation, it's giving me that, yes, place the order. And now that order is in, and this just kind of shows you what you just did as far as your order goes. So the top one here says that we have a buy order basically at 1530. Okay, for, as you can see, 20 shares right now. It says 0 of 20 because it hasn't filled. When it does fill, it will say 20 of 20. We have a take profit, and that's kind of what that sell limit was that we increased to 40, and you can see that here. And then lastly, and again, I think the most important one is that stop loss, which is the bottom one here. And that one you can see is set at 1550. So should it ever drop to 1550, it's going to automatically sell. And, we really minimized our risk, and we only lost, whatever it was, $2.50 or something like that. All right, let's go back. And now you can see when we're looking at this screen, it shows my buy order on there, right there. and it shows my current position is at 1576. The stock has actually gone up a little bit, as we can see, to 1587, so already making a little bit of a profit. And you know, I mean, really, hopefully it doesn't drop back down to that 1530, but if it does, not a big deal. We'll actually pick up more positions at that price, and we'll average down. Again, that's something I'll talk about in the future. I don't normally average down on stocks, just because depending on what that stock is doing activity wise, it can continue to drop. But in today's case, again, and if you have your settings set right, averaging down can be a good thing. Again, I'll probably dedicate like a whole entire video to that. But I'm liking where we have fuel cell right now. Again, if I look at this daily chart, you can see that the stock had recently hit at $20.94. So it could very well likely go back up to that $24.90 and above. And if it does, you know, that's always a good time to consider, do you want to sell some of your position and lock in profits? Do you want to hold it? What's your plan for this stock? Do you plan to continue to hold it for a long time? Other things that are important to look at when you're looking at a stock is, so this is about a 3-month glance at this stock. I like to see a minimum of growth over 3 months. Now, this stock isn't the greatest example, just because this stock happened to have been basically like a penny stock. You can see here it was like at $1.98 not that long ago. So this stock is one that has just kind of taken off. It's showing a lot of promise, however, and you know, I'll talk more again about that stuff here in the future. This was really just meant to be a how to buy and sell video. But these are all things, again, that we will get into a lot more depth on moving down the road. Excuse me. Okay, let's take another look here. All right, so I'm going to show you guys now quickly how to sell a stock. So let's go ahead, and we're going to choose American Airlines here. And again, I'm going to make this a little bit quicker just to show you guys how to sell if you need to. But we're going to go ahead and click on trade down at the bottom left. We're going to have our normal buy settings the way that we did for the previous buy. In this case, we're just going to buy one. Just for demonstration purposes. I don't plan to keep this right now. Hit OK. And all the other settings should be kind of set to where we had them for the defaults, which is going to be limit, as you can see up towards the top left there. Buy is in green. Quantity 1, good till canceled. Extended hours, yes. As always, take profit and loss. I, like I mentioned before, like to try to at least be coming close to doubling my purchases or my positions. So I'm going to change that to 30. And then the stop price, we'll go ahead and just leave that at 1586. Okay. And I like where everything is at. I'm going to go ahead and hit buy here. Go ahead and place order. And let's go back to the chart. And you can see that it's kind of gone up to a decent amount, actually. It's gone up to 1606. But let's go ahead and get in on that. We'll go ahead and move up. Click it. Yes. It's at 1606. It's at 1607. If it drops back down to 1606 here, it's going to fill. But I don't want to waste any time. I'm just going to go ahead and bring this up to 1607. Yes, I want to change that, and you can see it filled right away. If I wanted to keep this stock, I might move my stop sell up closer to these supports here that I can kind of see forming. Yes, I want to change that. Now you can see that if I decided I wanted to keep this stock, if it dropped down to that 15.93, I'm only going to lose 14 cents. That's going to be more important, obviously, if I would have purchased like 100 positions here. I would want to be a little bit more conservative potentially. If I was planning on holding this for a long time, maybe I would have left that more down here, because I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to bounce out if it does just happen to fall more like in this area. I want to hold it, and if it falls below this, then I'm going to sell out. Okay. But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to just leave it where it's at. Now, we have position one, you can see there at $16.07. We have our stop sell set. We have a limit sell, which is our take profit. You can't see that one because it's up higher than the chart is. But now let's say I want to sell this. So there's one thing you have to do first, or it won't let you close this out, and that's close all of your current open orders, basically. So if you go down to positions, you'll see open orders, and those three. So if we click on that, you can see we have our three orders there. Our first order was to buy it at 1607, and you can see it says 1 of 1, meaning that's been completed. Below that is our sell limit. That's our take profit at $30. So that would be if it went up to $30, it would sell. It hasn't done that, so you can see it says 0 of 1 actions there. And then lastly, our stop sell was set at 1593. And it hasn't reached that low point either, but we decided, hey, we want to sell it right here. You have to cancel all these if you want to sell right now, so that you're disregarding all those other orders. So hit cancel these ones one at a time. Are you sure you want to cancel take profit order? Yes. And then I'll also go ahead and I'll cancel this one. Hit cancel. Okay, here. So now it's just asking me if I want to cancel the entire advanced orders. Yes. And it looks like it's gone through here. Okay, so now you can see those are gone. Now we can go ahead and sell that we've canceled those advanced orders. So we'll go ahead and hit trade. I want to sell this. It looks like it's starting to drop. So again, I like to leave it at limit. If I were to change that to market here, it's just going to sell it immediately at whatever that price happens to be when I hit sell. Okay, so this is going to be on sell. If I drag this over, let's say I had 100 here, it doesn't matter whether it's 1 or 100. Once I go down now and I hit sell, it's going to sell all of my positions at whatever it happens to be at that point in time. I have done that before. There are sometimes reasons for that. But I like to use it at limit, because sometimes, again, it could drop very quickly. Let's say it drops all the way to like 1550. It's kind of an extreme, but if it drops all the way to 1550 and you hit sell, you just sold all your shares at 1550, and it might bounce right back up. I mean, this can happen sometimes in seconds. It could bounce right back up to 1607, and then you just had a much more significant loss. So put that back to limit, sell 1606, drag that bar over all the way. It'll fill all your positions. Or if you know how many you want to sell, maybe you only want to sell half, you can enter that quantity in there, or just drag that bar over to 50% or whatever. But because we only have one position at the moment, it's just going to fill to 1. Good till time in force, good till canceled. Extended hours, yes. Now, when we're selling like this, you're not going to use that take profit loss. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and hit sell. You can see that kind of drops into its order there. You can see I have my sell order here at 1606. Now, this is a great example. It's down at 1604, and it won't sell unless I change this. It won't sell until it comes back up to 1606. So I can wait and see if it bounces back up to 1606, or if I think to myself, oh, look, it is continuing to drop. And you can see it's hitting kind of a support right here, so it might not drop any lower. And it probably will come back up to 1606, and I can wait for that to happen. But I don't want to wait. It might keep dropping. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to toggle this down to where it's at 1603. Hit yes, basically. Yes. And if we keep watching there, it filled. Okay, so I just sold that position. We no longer have any shares of American Airlines. So that was a quick tutorial, guys, on how to buy and sell. Hopefully, again, you guys found this to be helpful. While we're still here, let's take a look at the positions we bought in earlier. Here they are. Here's Fuel Tech. What is Fuel Tech doing? It's gone up a little bit, which is good. If we wait a second here, it should show us. Yep. So now we can see our positions that we bought into Fuel Tech at 15.28. You can see that it's up a little bit, so we're profiting there. And hopefully we'll be good for the day. If you wanted to, again, if you're really worried about what this might do and you really don't want to lose money, you could change your stop sell. It kind of looks like it did develop a little bit of a support right around that area. I'm going to go ahead though, and I'm going to leave it where it's at. One thing I'll show you again down the road is you can always also, when you're really starting to see good profits, you can move that stop sell above your position price so that you're guaranteed to take profits if that stock starts to drop. Let's say that, we bought this in at $5.28. Let's say it goes all the way up to $10. All right, so you're almost doubling our profit. Let's say you want to, at that point, and this is always a good thing, I do this all the time, you should too. You can adjust that stop sell to like $8 so that if it's at 10, it drops down to 8. You've locked in your profits, and there's no way at that point you're going to lose any money. All right, let's go back to the other one that we purchased, which is Fuel Cell. We'll give this a second here to populate, and then you can see our positions here is at 1576. It's come up, so again we're already showing some profit. It's kind of starting to show again a little bit of a support in this area, so that's a good sign. So hopefully we won't really see it drop below that. There's our stop sell down there, and that other buy order that I had put in earlier. So if it does happen to drop, I'm actually just going to increase my position, which I think would be a good thing. But again, that kind of really covers it. Hopefully, again, you guys found this helpful. We'll continue to do these videos on a regular basis and get into a lot more detail on the charts and graphs and how to read that stuff, strategies, and that sort of thing. But again, thanks for watching.